which I'm tracking various different alternates, various different possible analyses, and so we can have a look at that in a moment. But of course, the next thing that the live analysis system does is it takes the analysis performed on the daily chart, and it performs an analysis on 4-hour bars. And as you can see, here is the analysis of the 4-hour bar chart. And you can see that it has taken analysis from the daily chart and has positioned an 18-month cycle trough on the 4th of October, and it has positioned a 40-day trough here on the 10th of November. I think that's the 10th of November is positioned a 40-day trough, and the way that the live analysis system and Sentient Trader itself works is that it refines the analysis as it looks at more and more detailed charts. So the next chart is a 1-hour chart. Here's the current analysis of the 1-hour chart. And I'd like to point out what has happened over here. And that is that here, as you can see, Sentient Trader has said that the trough on the 25th of November was a trough of the 20-day cycle. Okay, so it's saying that the 20-day trough has occurred. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart, and you will see that the 4-hour chart has not confirmed the 20-day trough. It is saying over here that the 20-day trough is expected fairly soon. That's what all those circles and whiskers are saying at the bottom of the chart over there, saying the 20-day trough is expected fairly soon, and it's passing that information onto the 1-hour chart, and the 1-hour chart, as I demonstrated a moment ago, is saying, okay, the 20-day trough has occurred on the 25th of November. I have had people ask me, why does the 1-hour chart not send that information back to the 20-day chart and tell it that this trough, which is this trough over here, is in fact the trough of the 20-day cycle. The reason that the shorter cycle, the shorter time frame charts don't send information back up to the longer time frame charts is because you start having you would start having a self-fulfillment loop happening between the charts. The 20-day, the 4-hour chart would send information to the 1-hour chart. The 1-hour chart uses that information, refines it. If it sends that information back to the 4-hour chart, then the information it receives from the 4-hour chart becomes almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so that's a fairly dangerous loop, which Sentient Trader doesn't get into. So the longer time frame charts will often say, we are expecting a 20-day trough to happen sometime in this time frame, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. And then when you have a look at the shorter time frame charts, you will see those troughs being confirmed. So here in the 1-hour chart, you'll see, and these pages are refreshing live of our servers as we speak, which is why they keep flashing as they update. Some browsers don't put that rather irritating white flash in. I'm not going to mention any names, but you can choose browsers that don't do that. But you see, according to 1-hour analysis, the 20-day trough occurred on the 25th of November, and we are now expecting a 10-day, the next, I beg your pardon, not 10-day, 5-day trough to occur. That's what this means at the bottom of the chart, those circles and whiskers. We call them circles and whiskers. The circle, if I draw one, represents the actual day or actual time at which the next trough of a particular cycle is expected, and the whiskers to each side represent the range of time. So as you can see, the 5-day cycle trough was expected early on the 29th of November, yesterday, and the range of time is from sort of late 28th to early today on the 30th. Now, I see there's a question, so I'm going to come back to that in a moment, Blair. Just something to sort of finish off this, what I'm saying about circles and whiskers. This is the expected range, okay? It is not an absolute range. If a trough happens here, then because that falls outside of the expected range does not mean that this could not be that trough, okay? It's not a hard and fast rule. The trough could occur slightly before or slightly after the expected range. The expected range is a sort of a statistical thing, if you like. In fact, the statistics are, it's a standard deviation. So the statistics are that 2/3 of the troughs would be expected to occur within this range. Some of them could occur outside that range. Okay, let me have a look at Blair's question. Can I scroll back on the 1 hour chart to see the 40-day nest? Blair, I can't because I'm using the live analysis system. No, in fact, I can. Yes, I can. I have the live analysis system here open in Sentient Trader. Live system. There we go. So you want to go to the hour chart. Let me just explain what I've got here. I've been talking about the live analysis system. Because the bulk of what I'm speaking about in today's trader chat, well, I haven't even got there yet, are how the trades happen on the 1 minute chart. So I'm going to be watching our site live as it happens. But I also have every weekend we make a backup of the system and we do various analytical work with it. So I've opened the backup workspace, which is not receiving live data, so it doesn't affect our internet connection for the purposes of this transmission. So you want to scroll back. Here is the hourly chart, as it was when we made the backup. Whoever made the backup, it was made 7 a.m. on Monday morning. So this doesn't have the last 2 days worth of data, as you can see. But in fact, the analysis is the same. There is that 20-day cycle trough on the 25th. And Blair has asked me to scroll back to the 40-day cycle trough. There it is, on the 10th of November on the 1 hour chart. Okay, Blair wanted to verify that it was the same as the daily. That's an interesting question. And there are some reasons why it might not be the same as the daily. Okay, there is the daily chart. Okay. So now on the 4 hour chart, that is placed on the 10th of November. Let's have a look at where it is on the 1 hour chart. That's actually an interesting question. It is also on the 10th of November. What Blair is getting at is that sometimes the shorter time frame charts will reject the phasing analysis from the longer time frame charts. The reason for that is because the shorter time frame charts have much more data to work with. Okay, and they can analyze much more carefully and accurately where the cycle troughs should fall. For instance, here's a case in point. Here's the 10-day cycle trough on the 18th of November, and it wouldn't surprise me if the 4 hour chart had that positioned slightly differently. Just zoom into the same sort of time frame. 4 hour and 1 hour. Yes, here we go. Here's a really good example of that. The 4 hour chart, because it doesn't have very high resolution data to perform the analysis, has positioned the 10-day cycle trough on the 21st of November. All right. When we have a look at the 1 hour chart, you'll notice that the 10-day cycle trough has been positioned before the weekend on the 18th of November. Now, you often find those sort of discrepancies coming into the analysis. And the reason for it is because the shorter time frame charts have much to work with. So when they're performing their analysis, they can look at how the cycles break down all the way down to the 5 hour level on the hourly chart, and that provides a lot more information for fine-tuning the positioning of the troughs. So Sentient Trader will do that. It will refine the analysis and enhance it And sometimes you will see the message that that the phasing analysis has been rejected. If I go back to the current analysis, which see uploaded to our servers 1 minute after 2 p.m., which was just as we started today's trader chat. This is the 1 hour chart. You can see it says phasing is inherited from the 4 hour chart, and sometimes you'll see the message there that the phasing analysis has been rejected. I see several questions coming in. Let me see if I can answer them. If the analysis wasn't inherited from the next time frame up, what would be the effect on the time frame in question? Okay, that's an interesting question. Why does Sentient Trader? Why do we use the inheritance process, Mark? The answer to that question has to do with the fact that the analysis that Sentient Trader performs is dependent on various things. To get a better analysis, generally, you want to use more data, because the more data you have, the better the analysis can be, because Sentient Trader can find longer and longer cycles. That's the sort of one side of it. On the other hand, the greater the resolution of data you have, if you're working with a 1 minute chart, you've got very, very finely detailed data. So Sentient Trader can perform a very finely detailed analysis. The problem with that is that a very long-term analysis on a 1 minute chart, and let me show you a very here's a 1 minute chart in Sentient Trader, which has got, I don't know if you can see this, you probably can't see this at the bottom, it's got 487,000 bars in it. Okay,